Good morning. Just want to come on here this morning and talk to everybody a little bit about what's happening in the workforce and what's happening with professionals, specifically aging professionals, people over 45 in the US right now, and a lot of tension and drama and things that we're watching in real time that are causing a lot of stress and concern and fear, some of those things. So I want to talk about a couple of these things today. We're seeing layoffs at scale. Cargill, one of the largest private, I think it's the largest private company in the country, had massive layoffs. Amazon had layoffs, these big numbers of layoffs. And that stokes a lot of fear. That stokes a lot of fear in a populace. And things like happen, very, very profitable companies lay off. There's a lot of question like, why is that? If they're making profit and they're making a lot of money and things are good on one side of the ledger, why is it that there's layoffs happening? What's going on there? So the net is that stokes a lot of fear and a lot of cynicism and a lot of discontent in the American workforce, and for good reason. It's kind of a relatively new phenomena in the grand arc of work in the United States. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And I'm not an economist, so I don't have a whole lot to share on the macro part of the economic impact of that. But I am an independent professional. I'm a 1099, and I teach others to do the same. So there is even as negative as all of that is, there's a positive side to it. There's always an upside. There's a yin to the yang. There's a positive side to when there's negative news. And mostly that's what I always talk about. That's fractional and what's going on there. So the net effect of all of that exodus from large organizations, and the net effect from large organizations sort of running the economy for the last 40 years in a very specific way, actually has a couple of positive benefits. When you think about people who have been growing businesses, working in their lane, ops, finance, IT, marketing, you name it, product dev, for a long time in a growing economy, in an innovative economy, in a changing economy, in a dominant economy on the planet, there's some positives there. And I'm going to leave the corporate side out of it because we know the positives there. The profitability is as high as it's ever been. But that workforce that has been contributing to that, those that have been in the companies that are having that much growth and success, they have had the benefit of being part and parcel to that. Now, there's good and bad to that, but the net and the point I want to make today is the aggregate wisdom and experience and skill and acumen that it took to develop all of that growth is an American thing. It's an American workforce thing. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by, the managers and the directors and the VPs and all of those millions of people in the middle of all this fray, of all this economic activity, it's the people that drive it. And it's their innovation and their thinking and all of that. And what's happened is that's created a massive amount of wisdom, accumulated wisdom that we have as an asset in our economy. And this is a good thing. This is a good thing. And because I teach people how to become fractional and independent, there's a downside to that is people don't really realize it themselves. There's such a demand on time and energy and focus, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. People mostly don't have time to sort of step back and take stock of that. The workforce just pushes too hard to keep producing, where people don't have time to pause and really think through, wow, I've been a big part of a contributing factor. But then when they leave, right, when companies start making big, massive layoffs, or even though they're profitable, these cuts happen, your divisions are cut, jobs are cut. What happens is you have all of this stuff, all of this brain power that's been driving this economy that is no longer in that production part because of a layoff, because of an exodus of some sort. And it's really shocking. It's really, really difficult on the person, but we deal with that at Voyager. Is we have to remind people that you've been a major contributing factor to our country's growth, and there's places where your skills can continue to go, if not in the giant corporate machine. And that is called fractional, 1099 independent. And the macro benefit to us all is, as people, either by force or by choice, age, whatever it is, leave what people think is the security of the corporate nest, which is not secure at all. That's left the building, but loyalty's dead. We all know that. What their contribution has been doing can now move from contributing to the growth of very profitable companies, if you're out of there, and it can move lower in the economy into the smaller business sector. And there's a net benefit to small business organizations. There's a benefit to nonprofit. There's a tremendous benefit from all of that talent that has been driving the U.S. economy, because that's what drives the economy, is the people. It's not the CEOs or the investors. They're part of it, right? They're part of it, but it's the people collectively that are working to build the economy up and accomplish great things at businesses. And as it leaves one part of our economy, it can enter another called fractional. And that's a net benefit for America. That's a definite net benefit for America, in that you have all of this wisdom that no longer fits or wants to be in the large corporate side. For all of those reasons we see, it's toxicity and politics and 2% raises, even though you're crushing it in your department, all of that. But guess who could benefit from that? And that is the next tier down, those businesses that can't afford those very same people full time. The cost has been too high. And now with fractional as a model continuing to grow and adapt and find its way in the U.S. economy, that sector, that part of the U.S. economy, which is half of our economy is small business, $15 trillion to give you a number there. They now have access to that. Now it's sloppy and difficult right now because fractional is new. It's not like, supply and demand meet perfectly yet, but everything's going that way. And what is the effect on the U.S. economy when a workforce is now available in a different way, but all of that wisdom and acumen is available to the small business sector? What is the net effect? Well, the net effect is growth. The net effect is innovation. The net effect is jobs. It's that part of the economy has always struggled, has an injection of talent and wisdom it can tap into. And then if you're that talent and wisdom, you have an opportunity to do great, hop in and learn how to be fractional and all of the things with that, and serve that economy and serve yourself. Rather than plug into a single entity, which, for the foreseeable future is going to be, very not as stable as we thought it was, have 2 or 3 or 4 revenue streams with a few clients in a fractional way. The win for individuals is huge. It's, wow, you've got portfolio income diversity. You're learning, from a couple of different companies. You're bringing that intelligence to the companies. So the layoffs in America are creating, isn't this always the way it is? So the layoffs in America are creating an opportunity set that was probably, well, I don't know if I would call it unintended, but it certainly is going to end up being a boost for the U.S. economy. It is absolutely a boost for the workforce. in that if you think of everybody, if you've been laid off and you feel terrible and you're down at the bottom of where you are emotionally, all of that difficult stuff that comes with that, to all of a sudden have a path, have a route, an avenue where you can go deliver value in your best possible way that just wasn't there before. And so it's a win on the hiring side of that for sure, and it's a win on the working side of that. And while that part of the economy that is having massive layoffs, even though they're profitable, all of that is what it is in the economy. This whole new economy of small to mid-sized businesses, fractional talent serving them, is bubbling up and will continue to create value, GDP, innovation, domestic innovation, all these wonderful things happening in the U.S. economy. So if you're looking at fractional as a career choice, definitely do it. But it's time to also think about, yes, how you get into it, how do you do it. That's what Voyager U is for. But it's kind of nice to know that as you pursue it, there's a macro picture that you're partaking in as well. And that is the small to mid-sized growth, the rise of individualism, the rise of self-sovereignty, which I always argue that's the foundation of our country anyway. Moving away from, I think what they call it is corporate capture, sort of stuck in that big giant flywheel system, and moving into a much more free freedom and opportunity and revenue environment for yourself. So very rich and amazing times in America. You can always look at the economy and say there's a downside and be negative about it. And, why are massively profitable companies laying off and how come the money's all moving to the top? But those things change, and fractional is part of that change. So keep your eye on it. Watch it. If you desire to be free and not partake in that, or if you're let out of the massive sort of corporate world, if you're exited from that, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity and a bigger picture you can take part of in fractional and in the small business world. So get after it as you think about what the next chapter in your career is going to be. Get after it, and as I always say, if you like freedom, opportunity, and fulfillment, go fractional.